Hey folks, this is Ann coming at you again with another video for Caribbean cooking. So today I'm making some plantains and I'm going to be making some sweet potatoes, homemade flatbread, and some codfish. I'm going to use my ingredients that I have in my refrigerator. So I'm going to use my tomatoes and onions and garlic and things like that. So the first thing I do is I boil this codfish because I've got to get all that salt out of there. Usually when the saltfish comes in the packet, it has preservatives, pretty much salt. So you got to boil that out, get that out of there. I do it about 2 or 3 times just to get all that salt out, okay? And then the next thing I do after I boil my codfish out is I start preparing my vegetables. So I cut up all my vegetables, my tomatoes, my onions, my garlic. I have some fresh thyme as well. Typically, I get more ingredients from the supermarket, but they were short on a lot of the things that I use typically. So I use the onions and the garlic especially, and the fresh thyme. But you can use hot peppers in there. You can use cilantro. You can use shadow benny, as we call it. So anyway, doesn't matter. If you have fresh herbs, just use them. Okay, so the next thing I do after I prep my flatbread or my coconut bake, in this instance is what I'm making. I prep that and I get it into the oven. I bake it at about 375 until it's cooked all the way through. And then, voila, this is what it looks like when it's all done. It's nice and golden brown, and it's absolutely delicious. I'm telling you, it's delicious. So the next thing I do after I'm done doing all of that is I prep my plantains, because I've got to fry up some plantains. And I know a lot of you know how to do plantains already, but for those who don't know how to do the plantains, this is a little bit of a demonstration of how I do it, okay? So I cut down the plantains, I cut the skin down, and then I take the plantain out and I pretty much either cut it sideways, as you'll see in the video here, I cut it sideways, or I cut it in strips. And that's, to me, the easiest way to prepare it, but not everybody likes to do it that way. So I'll show you both ways. I either cut it sort of like on a slant, and then I cut it sideways. I put a little bit of oil in a frying pan, and I know some of you are thinking, wait, this video is going a lot faster than how she's speaking, but I did a voiceover, so bear with me. So anyway, you'll see that I have different styles of cuts here. It depends on how you like them, okay? So I heat the oil, regular oil, in a frying pan, and I get it up high enough in the heat so it'll start cooking the plantains. You do want to keep your eye on this because you don't want to overcook them, and you don't want to burn them, but you want them to cook all the way through. You want them to have a nice golden brown color when they're done, and especially if they're sweeter, if they're a little bit riper, they'll be a little bit sweeter. So you want to kind of, again, keep your eye on them so that they don't burn. But and you don't need to add anything else, just the oil. I see people add sugar and things like that. Plantains are already sweet, so you don't need to add extra. So as you can see, my plantains are ready. They're nice and golden brown. So I'm going to take those off, and I'll have those cooling for when it's time to plate my meal. So now we're looking at getting the saltfish or the codfish done. Okay, I've got my vegetables, I've got my codfish cut up here. That's all done. And it's just a matter now of getting ready to saute it, put it together, and in short order, we'll be eating. So here is my codfish in the frying pan. I put just enough olive oil. I don't like to put a whole lot of olive oil, so I put just enough olive oil that I can coat all of my ingredients, right? And then typically I put a cover on my, once I'm done coating, making sure it's properly coated, I'll put a cover on and just kind of let it simmer for a little while. And make sure that all the vegetables are cooked all the way through. Keep in mind, the codfish is already cooked, right? Because I took all that salt out of it. And again, you can put a pinch of seasoning if you have some, adobo seasoning, if you have some cayenne pepper or some hot peppers. It just depends on how you want to flavor it. You do it to your liking. This is your dish, so if you have it too spicy, it's on you. If it's not spicy enough, it's on you. No one is going to complain about that. Okay? So once that's done, and you cover it for a little while, let it cook down, then you'll be ready, more or less. I give it a couple minutes in there with the cover on it, and then basically you will be ready to serve it up with your plantains and your flatbread. So this is pretty much what it looks like. You can kind of see a little bit of the oil in there. Like I said, I didn't put a lot of oil in there because I don't like a lot of oil for myself, but some people like more because they want to put it all over their plantains. But you could just put enough just to get it cooked, right? So then breakfast is ready or brunch is ready. You have your flatbread looking really good. You have your plantains and your codfish with fresh herbs and tomatoes and onions. So I hope I wasn't too quick in telling you how I went through putting this video together and cooking all the ingredients, but I do hope that you enjoy it, and I hope you try it out. You can get a lot of the ingredients at your local grocer in the international aisle. Oh, by the way, that's my champagne and orange juice, my mimosa. But you can get a lot of this stuff at your local grocer or at your Latin American store in your community. So check it out, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Cheers!